Okay, July 16th, 2021, about 9 in the morning, and today's project is going to be replacing the water pump on this 97 Cherokee. Now, just to start off, I use Napa parts on water pumps, alternators, and stuff like that, because as long as you have your receipt, it's a lifetime warranty. They will replace the part. They won't compensate you for labor. They will replace the part, and I haven't found my receipt on this one. I have replaced it before, but it's running a little bit warm, and I'm going to replace it and the thermostat today, and the upper and lower radiator hoses. And tomorrow we will sit in on that 95 Grand Cherokee up there doing the same thing, but we may add an air conditioning dryer to that one and vacuum it down as well. So the first thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative terminal. I've got a new terminal on the positive, and it's got a plastic cover on it, so we don't have to worry about shortening it out with hitting anything and shortening it out. But I am going to disconnect the negative terminal, and then we're going to, I don't remember what all I've got to take off. I would just replace this fan, but I'm going to take it off for ease of access. And then that power steering pump's got to come out of the way. I don't remember whether that pulley over there has to come out or not, or off. That's a mechanical fan. It has two fans. It's got an electric fan and a mechanical fan. The electric fan comes on at 210, or anytime the air conditioner is on. And like I said, we'll be replacing that thermostat right there. So, like I said, first off, we're going to go ahead and disconnect that battery, and we'll start taking stuff off and get this done. Okay, we have disconnected the battery. I used a 5/16 to go ahead and take that water line off from the reservoir over there, get that out of the way, and a 5/16 to go ahead and take that fan back out and disconnect its electrical connector over here. Now, first thing you need to do getting that belt off is loosen this 15 millimeter bolt. You need a 15 millimeter, and then you can start loosening this, tightening it, adjustment up here. If you just start loosening this and try to get it undone, you're going to strip the bolt that's inside on that long bolt there. So I'm just getting stuff out of the way to start with. I'm going to drain the radiator, go ahead and get that water out of there, get the hoses off, and anything else that's in the way, so we can get the water pump off. Okay, we're still in the process of getting stuff out of the way. I used a short standard screwdriver to remove the lower radiator hose, get it out of the way. Regular screwdriver to get the top radiator hose out of the way. A pair of channel lock pliers to get the clamps off the heater hoses, move them back out of the way. Of course, I've disconnected that now. I've gotten the thermostat housing bolts out. The long one goes on the top, the bottom one goes on the bottom, of course, and they are 1/2 inch. I'm going to put anti-seize back on them back when I go back with them. I never put adhesive on the block. I always put it on the gasket itself. Now, these gaskets came with glue on the back of them. It's a little bit more aggravating to get off, but I'll make it work. Okay, I'll remove these power steering bolts so I can move that power steering pump and get that frame, get that mount out of the way so that I can get to the water pump bolts. Okay, we're about ready to get that water pump off now. They take out 4 1/2 inch bolts. We've taken them out. We took the roller that the belt rides on, took it off, this 1/2 inch. And there's the 1/2 inch water pump bolt is longer than the others, and it is this one on this bottom right side over here. I've got the power steering bracket out of the way. It's not completely off. They're 9/16. There are two right here on the front. There's one back there under that bracket that you can get to from the bottom with a 1/2 inch or with a 9/16 on a 3/8 ratchet underneath there from this right hand side over here. So we're about to take that water pump off, get everything cleaned up, and go back with a new water pump. Okay, that heater hose pipe coming out of there is a 3/4. I've sprayed lubricant on it. I'll put some type of sealant back on it when we go back in, probably the water sealant. But make note of that angle. If you get that angle wrong, you're going to have a hard time getting your heater hose connected back up to it. Now, as this pulley is freewheeling, taking it off and putting it back on, unless you've got the little special tool that goes in those two little holes on the front of that water pump, you're going to have to do something like this with the screwdriver to block it, where you can tighten these nuts up or loosen them as you're taking it off to start with. Okay, a couple of things. I've got everything almost all the way back together. It's got to still have to put the fan in and do a little cleanup here and there. I've got the radiator hoses on and tight. This engine compartment is not that cramped. I had to cut off a 1/2 inch of that hose, and it's still touching up against that battery. They could have done something just a little bit different to where that hose didn't rub it on that battery. But anyway, like I said, I'll be filling it up. I clean it up a little bit more. Got to check the owner's manual, see how much fluid or how much water it takes, and I'm going to add distilled water in with the mix. I don't ever use tap water or mineral water. I use distilled water in batteries and radiators. Of course, you don't put much water in batteries anymore. Okay, coolant capacity is 12 quarts, and it includes 2 quarts, 2.3 for the recovery over there. So I'm going to figure 10 quarts. That's 2.5 gallons. I'm going to figure about 1.25 gallons. I'm going to start by pouring in 1 gallon of distilled water and look for leaks. Then I'll pour in 1 gallon of antifreeze and continue looking for leaks. Then I'll get that serpentine belt back on there and crank it up, and then finish filling it up. Okay, got everything back on. Power steering bolts tight, all that's tight, everything's tightened up. Radiator hoses, clamps. All the wiring connections, everything's back on. I've only put 1/2 gallon of each in. The first serpentine belt is not tight, but I'm going to crank it just to check it out and then cut it off and start tightening the belt down. Okay, we tighten this bolt right here, 15 millimeter, until we got 1/2 inch of deflection in the belt movement. You can see it very good over here. And then we tighten this bolt down here, another 15 millimeter. Now we're going to crank it, let it run, and add some more fluid to it and check for leaks. I don't like standing directly in line of that serpentine belt. If something were to happen, that thing come off or break and come off, that thing could kill you. It'll hit you in the right place. Okay, we're going to start adding fluid. Okay, the battery died on that camera, so now we had to switch cameras. When you put that thermostat in, make sure that the temperature sensor is in towards the head or towards the engine. It doesn't stick out towards the radiator. Okay, we're going to start adding fluid and looking for leaks. Okay, we've gone down the road for a test drive. I don't know if you can see that dash or not with the glare. Operating temperature, everything's doing okay. Check for leaks. No leaks. We'll get back and check the water level, make sure it's got plenty of water in it when we get back. And then we'll probably start on the 95.